Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I don't know what I'm doing here exactly, but thought that I would talk in a vague way about mammoths. Mammoth is a booktube designation for a large book, over 800 pages, or at least 800 pages in length, I believe. I read this in January and the beginning of February, War and Peace, a book I had failed once before. But I've had a long relationship with mammoths, more in the sense of wanting to read them or aspiring to read them, than in the sense of having accomplished the reading of them. But I am slowly chipping away and making progress, and I thought I would talk about my mammoth journey a little bit. I know I've said some of this stuff before. I have been devoting myself to reading now for a little bit over 2 years. It's a hobby that I long aspired to and never saw any success towards, partly because I was primarily a writer of verse, and also just simply because I was lazy, and of course all of the other normal activities which impinge upon one's vague aspirations in life. So when I worked at EFTPS, the Electronic Federal Tax Payment System, I was there when the system was just being created and getting off the ground. And so for the first month or so, I was a customer service person on one of those telephones that you wear. For the first month or so, after our training, we had nothing to do because the program was not mandatory for the first several months, and people were being encouraged to coming onto the system and paying their taxes in that way. It was mandatory for businesses. And with all of this downtime, I decided to make use of it and read Cervantes, Don Quixote. And I did. I had ample time to get paid and take the occasional phone call and for the rest of the time read Cervantes. And that was the first mammoth that I read. Well, I take that back. As a young man, just getting into books, after I had read the Brontes and Jane Austen, I did read Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. Have no memories of it anymore. It was a signet classic, and I didn't particularly like it. Having just finished War and Peace, I think I understand a little bit more why I would not have liked it, and that is because it's more of a book suitable to an adult, I think. Be that as it may, after my experience reading Don Quixote, I never tackled another mammoth, but back of my mind, I had a couple of books that I was really thinking about, and I picked them up, the Cairo Trilogy and the Tale of Genji. I don't know why I settled on these as books that I wanted to tackle one day in the future. The Cairo Trilogy, as it comes to us now, I believe, stands more as 3 distinct novels. Initially, he had it as one piece, and I believe the publisher made him break it up into parts. That's a common tale, sadly. And I can't remember now which one of them I read first. Probably the Cairo Trilogy. And this was 6 or 7 years ago now. I managed to get my forces collected and knuckle down, buckle down, do it. And I did it. And that is where matters stood for a long time. I'll show you another mammoth that I attempted and failed on. I had good intentions. There's the famous name, and there's the whole set of the longest novel ever written, I believe, although I wouldn't be surprised if there are some Chinese novels that could vie with it in length. Okay, so that was a failed attempt. 2 years ago, I read The Plum in the Golden Vase. Let me show you this one. This is a marvelous book. There you go. It's not really as big as you would think. There's a lot of extraneous notes for the lay reader. I'm waiting for Penguin to come out with a single volume edition of this. That would be very nice, or somebody else. It's a Chinese novel told in 100 chapters, with the only caveat being that I think 5 of those chapters were lost or were censored, removed, and rewritten by somebody. Nobody knows who wrote the book to begin with. Nobody knows. Hey, TT, come on. Nobody knows why those chapters were taken out, who wrote the replacements, but those 5 chapters are just atrocious, just very poorly done. That's how it is. So last year, my second year of reading, I'm feeling a little bit warm, pardon me. I know. My book count was higher than the year previous, but I realized that I had read a lot of really short books. And when it comes down to it, I would rather be reading Mammoths. I would like to make this the year of the Mammoths. So, as I say, I started the year with War and Peace, and I was very glad that I did it. There's an added fulfillment to finishing a book that you started previously and set aside unfinished. So possibly next month, April, I will be going into Les Mis. I think I've decided on this edition of it. I know. I was initially going to be reading Huckleberry Finn this month, and that plan sort of changed. And so I decided to try another one of these mammoths, and I had to make a choice. I really want, I have a video where I talked about my history books on China that I want to undertake. I would hope to do it this year if possible. They've been long waiting in the wings. I have a good number of Chinese novels as well. And so I would like to show you a little bit of, well, actually my Asian novels and fiction collection of stuff that I have had aspirations to. So in deciding to plunge right into a mammoth today for March of the Mammoths, I considered A Dream of Red Mansions. This will be the edition I go with. Penguin has, I believe, a 5-volume set, just sort of atrociously translated from what I can gather. I used to own them and I unhauled them. So, A Dream of Red Mansions, but I decided not to do it because I wanted to go with something even more iconic, and that is The Journey to the West. Here's The Journey to the West. I started this today. There's about 60 pages of front matter talking about the text, talking about candidates for authorship, since, again, nobody really knows who wrote it. This is also in 100 chapters, so far as I know, better preserved than the other. And this is one of those books, if I had had the kind of education that I wish I had, I would have known about it. It's one of those books that you just, in the course of life, keep picking up references to here and there. And so because of that, I decided that this is the one I should start with. Now, I don't know for sure that I can get this finished in 1 month's time. Judging by my progress on War and Peace, I technically should be able to, but I don't know if I can. The nice thing about the introduction is that it counts towards the total page count, because it starts with 3 or something, but the text of the book itself starts on page 60 something. So that you always feel kind of cheated when you have to read 60 pages and it's all in the Roman numerals. So this is what I'm hoping to read for March of the Mammoths. I've only read some of the introduction, and when I finish filming this, I will continue on with that. But I thought it would be good to show some of the other Chinese novels and other Asian fiction that really I have aspirations towards reading, that really has priority for me over something like the Proust or Proust. Which version do I have? The, oh God, In Search of Lost Time. I think it's also called Remembrance of Things Past. Now, technically, this would not quite qualify as a mammoth because it's just under 700 pages. The Scholars. I want to read this one of these days. I believe with a different font it would qualify. It's not exact. Oh, nice illustration. It's not exactly a font that I like. So we'll see how many of these I can tackle this year. So for other Chinese ones, I've got the Three Kingdoms, a historical novel. This, I believe, is the edition that I will be relegated to. I prefer reading Chinese things that have been transliterated using the Wade-Giles system, which was a system invented for the English speaker. Nowadays, everybody tends to use Pinyin, which is a system created for the Chinese speaker, I believe. But I could be wrong on that. Regardless, I am old school. I much prefer the Wade-Giles, the old way of doing things, which don't exactly give you any better of a sense of how to pronounce things, but give you a way to pronounce them, whereas all the X's and whatnot of the other, it's very hard to make head or tail out of. So those are my Chinese volumes. And now I will just show you the other things that I have in the wings. There is the Tale of the Heike. I don't know how long this is. It can't be that long. Well, so this is 400 pages. Oh, I see. They continue the pagination from one volume to the next. So it's about 800 pages, less than 800 pages. So may not quite qualify, but I do want to tackle this as my second Japanese mammoth at some time. And then I'll show you the big kahuna here, which I may never get to, but I would like to. And that is the Ramayana. I'm not sure if this is a poem or a prose work or what. I don't really know too much about it, but it's really amazing that Princeton happens to have this out in a complete edition. There are tons of retellings. Penguin has one or possibly more than one, but they're all severely pruned. With much of this Asian literature, it's all been recast, but such was the fate even of this book. And I think we are now reaching a stage in literary translation where better, more authoritative volumes are coming available in English. So that's very good. Now, right now, this is Princeton, and the Plum in the Golden Vase is Princeton. Right now, I believe that the annual sale is going on with discounts of up to 75% off or something like that. That would be the ideal time to get something like these. For this book, I wished I had gotten it in the e-book form. It's just an awful lot. It takes up a lot of space on your shelves. But be that as it may, I'm not going to buy it again. It's unlikely that I will read it again. Of all of these, if I do read anything again, it would be the Tale of Genji, I think. So, the interruption has discombobulated me, and I am not sure what else I had planned to say. Other than I believe I have exhausted my mammoths. Of Chinese novels, the other one which I have heard about is Outlaws of the Marsh, alternately translated as The Water Margin, something like that. But I do not believe a good edition exists yet in English of that. So we have to wait and see on that. Anyhow, I am making my effort. Let's see where I put all of this stuff. I am making my effort with Journey to the West. We'll see. I'll cover up the volume 4 since I'm only in volume 1. We'll see how I do this month. Wish me luck. And hopefully I will finish in time to read this one next month. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.